Join me as I take my first trip aboard Amtrak's Acela.
Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new video. I'm Tom. Today I am traveling with Lindsay and we are at Lincecum Station on the Baltimore Light Rail Link. Now we spent the day exploring Annapolis, Maryland, which is the capital city, a very charming old town. We're ready to head back to DC, so we took a bus. We're at the light rail now. We're headed to BWI Airport, and I was just gonna book us a MARC train. MARC Penn line, nice and frequent.
Just to make it clear for you guys, here's a map. We took a Baltimore bus from Annapolis to Glen Burnie, where we transferred to a light rail train to Lincecum. Now we're hopping on another light rail to BWI, where we'll change to a shuttle bus to the train station. There we'll finally get on a train to DC. Crazy trip, I know. Now, my plan was to just take MARC, which would cost $8. Just for fun, I looked on the Amtrak app to see what a same-day price would be for Amtrak. What? Northeast Regional for $8? Wait, an Acela for $22? $22?
To be able to ride an Acela for $22? That's worth giving it a try. I've never been on the Acela before, so.
The Baltimore Light Rail is actually a fun ride. I've made a video about it before, but I'd like to come back and ride the whole thing. There's more than 30 miles of it. Before long, we've made it to Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport, BWI for short.
So we've made it to BWI Marshall Airport. The nice thing about the light rail is it stops right next to the terminal. So you just hop off the train and you're already where you need to be. The MARC and Amtrak station, that's a little bit farther away, but there's a free shuttle connecting the terminal with the station. So that's what we're gonna go look for.
The buses between the terminal and the rail station leave outside a baggage claim, and they stop along different parts of the terminal so you never have to walk far. They've got very comfortable seats, as well as power sockets and baggage racks. Less than 10 minutes later, we've made it to BWI Rail Station. This station is served by MARC commuter trains as well as Amtrak trains on the Northeast Corridor, America's busiest intercity rail line. Inside, there's a waiting room, a concession stand, and a ticket office. I actually had to get our boarding passes from the ticket office since my app was acting a little bit glitchy. It was super easy though.
Our tickets say car 3. That's car 3.
Now, just in case I have any viewers not familiar with Acela, the Acela is the only high-speed train in the USA. High speed in quotes because its status as a high-speed train is debatable. The technology certainly is high speed. The power cars on both ends were built by Alstom, and you can kind of see the resemblance with the French TGV. The passenger cars were built by Bombardier, which today is also Alstom, but back in 2000 they were completely different companies. The Acela is capable of 150 miles per hour or 240 kilometers per hour, so definitely slower than the global standard for high speed. Still, it's the fastest train in the US today. The only problem is, they don't run on dedicated high-speed tracks. They run the 457 miles between Boston, New York, and Washington, D.C. over the Northeast Corridor, a conventional line that sees many slower Amtrak services and frequently stopping commuter services. In fact, less than 50 miles of the total line are capable of handling Acela trains at their top speed. As such, they're not much faster than a Northeast Regional train. Acela is able to make up some time using the train's tilting technology and also by stopping less. Yet Acela's real selling point is its marketing. It is treated as an exclusive luxury train. There's no coach class. The cheapest fare you can buy is business class. Besides that, there's also the very expensive first class. Despite its luxury branding, it is still Amtrak's second busiest service nationwide. Only the Northeast Regional sees more riders.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, next and final stop will be Washington, D.C. Union Station coming up next.
So this is business class. The seats are still in a 2x2 configuration, and they remind me a lot of the seats on the Pacific Surfliner. Perhaps the strangest thing about the interior is how much it resembles an airplane. Most obvious, of course, are these large luggage bins. I have never seen bins like this on a train before. But also, the seat signage kind of resembles an airplane to me, though I think it's hilarious that they skip seats B and E to remind you that, unlike an airplane, Amtrak has no middle seats. The emergency lighting in the floor is red instead of the traditional green-bluish color. The seats are very well padded. Truly, no one does comfort better than Amtrak. There are power sockets in the wall, not my favorite placement, but it'll do. A sturdy tray table rolls out of the seat in front of you. This was also very reminiscent of the Surfliner cars. It's easy to see that both these trains were introduced around the same time. There's a footrest, and recline is controlled using this button in the armrest. Once again, a very airline-style design. Now, believe it or not, in the short section between BWI and DC, our train broke down. The groans in our cabin were deafening. To add insult to injury, a Northeast Regional passed us. I used the opportunity to explore the train. Towards the end of the passenger cabin are luggage racks. Very nice. An automatic door leads you to the vestibule, which kind of has that 2000s look that is becoming retro alarmingly fast. Let's check out the toilet. You know, for a train that's this delayed coming all the way from Boston, it was not nearly as horrible as it could have been. Amtrak passengers aren't always known to use courtesy or common sense when they go, if you know what I mean. Next, let's check out the cafe. Walk through the open gangway, and thankfully the cafe was the very next car. It looks more like a European cafe car than a regular Amtrak cafe. You've got your seatless windows on the left over here, and then there's the counter. If you're in first class, by the way, an attendant will deliver you a meal and a drink to your seat. I like the little bar with the stools, though I'm sure that's not meant for your feet, dude. We're finally moving again, so it's time to enjoy the last 15 minutes or so of the ride. The best part was, we caught up with that Northeast Regional and made it to DC before they did.
We do apologize for this delay. Once again, we do apologize for this delay. Please make sure you gather all your belongings. I remind you before you depart this train. Use caution next to this train. Thank you for choosing Amtrak. Once again, we apologize for this delay.
And that concludes our very first trip on the Amtrak Acela.
So, how was it? Well, being a rail fan barely older than the Acela itself, I had wanted to do this for practically my whole life. Even if it was a short distance that doesn't really represent a full Amtrak journey, for just $22, I had been able to cross this train off my list. I would say just in time, because Amtrak is planning to replace its fleet with their new Acela train sets, but honestly, those have been so delayed that I'm sure I'll get another opportunity to ride in an old one before. We spent most of the time standing still, so it's kind of an ironic way to remind us that Acela really isn't high speed. I enjoyed it mostly because of the comfort and that feeling of exclusivity. That's what I would market if I was Amtrak. Lindsay said that she thought the trains were very comfortable as well. She particularly enjoyed the slightly retro look. Overall, I think I'll stick to Northeast Regional for most of my East Coast travel just because of the price difference, but this definitely wasn't my last time riding Acela. Thanks so much for coming along today. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. I have some epic Amtrak trip reports coming in just a few weeks and you won't want to miss them. See you next time.